Is the other part of the Red Bull Air Force we were talking about, and we have the jumpers coming out, and with smoke as well, and we're going to try to find them. They start pretty high. It's you got to really find them first. There we go.
When you say jumpers, I don't think I've seen this particular group before.
Well, they have 4 wingsuited jumpers, and they'll perform a swoop landing, is what I'm told. There's also the smoke performance on the planes. Is this Kirby? Is this Kirby Chambliss? I believe it is, of the Red Bull Air Force, a flyer for 17 years with this group. And he is a champion, a national champion in aeronautics and aerobatics.
And you know, most people who do these shows, who perform in the air shows, they really come with a lot of experience and awards and credentials. Really the best of the best out there, and certainly ambitious and fearless.
And as we talked about, they have to be in pretty good shape, because the G-forces, as you know, having been in those planes, the G-forces that they pull, the kinds of stresses that they put on their bodies in some of these maneuvers are pretty remarkable. Mm-hmm. Like that.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that.
Kind of a pretzel move. So those are the parachute jumpers, I am told, there in the middle of your screen. Now, see them separate? And those are the ones with the winged suits on, and they're trailing smoke. And they've got Kirby Chambliss in a Zivco Edge 540 aerobatic aircraft swirling around them all at the same time. Go figure.
Yeah.
Just another Sunday afternoon.
Just another Sunday afternoon. And I'm sitting here trying to look at it. They must be trying to see it here from the tower. Still pretty high up, so I can't. I'm having to watch it here on TV with you right now.
Yeah, we have a cover over top of our tower, so we can't see straight up. But here they come with the parachute out now, trailing the smoke, and as we've been told, they're going to come in for a swoop landing at some point.
And Steve was, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's a lot of sore necks after this weekend, because you spend half your day looking up in the air.
Right. Because many times if you haven't seen the act before, you really don't know what's going to happen next.
Exactly.
And Steve was talking about Kirby, the pilot of the plane, we actually saw a few moments ago. He's actually a 5-time U.S. National Aerobatic Champion. Again, the Red Bull Air Force team, looking at the parachuters coming down. Quite a dramatic display. And looks like going into land right now. All seems to be going well. Tell you what, here at the Boeing Air Show, you never know what you're going to see, from flipping helicopters, the Blue Angels, parachuters, wakeboarders, we have it all.
We really do, and you have a seat for it all, as well as you're also going to see now more awards for today's racing. Take it away.
All right, now look at this.
My.
This is supposed to happen, believe it or not. This, courtesy of the Red Bull Air Force team. This helicopter, the only one like this certified in North America to do aerobatic maneuvers, and it is amazing.
It did. It did a loop. I mean, it went up and over and around, and look at that. It stops. There we go again. This is a helicopter.
This is a helicopter. You're not seeing things. Chris Lagueros actually rode in this the other day. Yes, Chris, you're out of town. Chris Lagueros rode in this helicopter.
Older than I am. What is he doing up in that thing?
See, there's no excuse for it.
He needs a doctor.
Yeah,
we're going to show you. We're going to show you some video from inside here in just a second. But this is remote. There it is.
Isn't that something?
Oh, my word. Clark Stahl. Does Clark do this in Chopper 7?
Clark does not do this in Chopper 7. As I mentioned, this is the only helicopter that's certified to do this, to do these types of maneuvers in air shows. This is being flown by Chuck Aaron. Chuck is the one who gave our Chris Lagueros the ride. In fact, let me just make sure I'm clear about this. Chuck is the only pilot that is certified to perform aerobatics in a helicopter. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is something you normally don't see in an air show.
No, you really don't. And if you look up in the sky one day and you see a traffic chopper doing that, you know you got some issues, because they're not supposed to. I'm amazed. I never knew that a helicopter could do what these are doing.
Right. There are only 3 pilots in the entire world who do this. And this was, you know, for a lot of these pilots who enjoy doing maneuvers and different Yes, flips and rolls.
Yes.
It's a challenge to come up with something different to do, and that's what it was for Chuck. He wanted to say what he could do. He said he did this before he could actually do the roll in the helicopter. He actually had to go and not do it like 20 times or so. I mean, it was because it's never done.
If the first time you decide to do it, it doesn't work, you're not going to do it many more times.
Right, exactly. It was a little bit scary, but it worked out, and here we are.
Now, again, the pictures in the box in the lower right-hand side of your screen, that's as it's happening. From the pilot's point of view, you're looking up just past him, so you can actually see the blade above him turning. And for the life of me, I can't tell whether he's up, down, sideways. Now you see the water, so that means he's upside down.
It was back in 2004 when Chuck joined the team to try to figure out how to make a helicopter do aerobatics. And it was 2 years later, in 2006, when he was finally able to make it happen, actually publicly. That's when it had its U.S. debut. And now, 20,000 hours later, and this Red Bull helicopter, 150 air shows. Oh, I can't imagine. You know what's interesting? When I first saw this helicopter do this earlier this week, I thought it must feel different. It has to be uncomfortable. But Chris Lagueros said it was a remarkably smooth ride. It wasn't as jarring as you might think it would be. And what makes this more challenging, obviously the rotor is going on top. I mean, that's something you don't have in a jet.
Right.
And that's what makes this unique in more ways than one.
in our we know a lot about this, folks. Sure we do. But we also have some materials that we have a chance to look at. And I was reading something that Chuck Aaron said. He said he laughs and he says people just can't believe what they're seeing. And I just felt that literally a moment ago. He says, how does a helicopter do all those crazy things? But he makes it do just that. And I'm sure, again, he is as skilled, maybe more skilled than just about anybody in the world at the controls of a helicopter.
And there were a few modifications that they had to make, obviously, to get the helicopter to be able to do some of these things. But he apparently spent a year making the modifications, like strengthening the airframe, shifting its center of gravity to make it more maneuverable, and modifying the fuel and oil system. So those are just some of the things that had to happen to get the helicopter to this point. And again, that was a 2-year process just from the idea to actually when it made its debut.
And this is only one part of the Red Bull presentation. I mean, Red Bull has planes and smoke jumpers and all manner of things.
Yes.
It's quite a performance here over Lake Washington as part of the Boeing Air Show.
There's a maneuver that Chuck actually invented here, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's called the Chuck. I had this right when I practiced it. I really did. Chuck-Kivak.
Chuck-Kivak,
yeah, there you go.
Right.
Yeah, play on a famous airplane aerobatic maneuver known as the Lomkivak. He apparently pulls up from level flight at 120 knots and climbs vertically until reaching 0 airspeed. So we'll have to look for that during the show if we haven't already missed it.
Well, I think Chuck is now off of Center Point over the lake and is actually moving back over to Genesee Park. It looks like he's going to set the chopper down back in the park over behind our tower. And there's lots going on here. I tell people all the time to come down sometime and just experience Seafair. And they say, well, I'm not so much into boat racing or something. There is so much to do down here. There's an entire park at Genesee that it's like a county fair